My name is John. I'm a software engineer with 10 years of experience and a PhD in economics where I study the return on investment to education. In this video, we're going to talk about picking a boot camp. And we're going to ask the question like, is Reddit advice any good at this? Maybe it is. I don't know. I haven't looked at the article yet. But I noticed, first of all, this is like a well kind of respected Reddit in the sense that it's a top 5 by size. So it's like pretty populous. People hang out here. There's 110 people hanging out here right now. So it's one of the bigger Reddits, and then it was pinned by this post was pinned by the moderators. And I said, ooh, this would be interesting to do a live reaction to. So the current video in front of us is going to have 5 parts. First, I'm going to do an intro, and I'll preview an upcoming deep dive that I'm going to do. Then we'll live react to that pinned Reddit article. I'm going to plug my website where I teach people to code called Latterly. I'll do a lightning round where I'm going to quickly answer 8 concrete questions that the audience you have given me. And those are the same 8 questions that we're going to do a deep dive on later. But I'll give you the lightning round short answer here. And then the last thing is I would give you 6 specific things that I would do if I was looking for a boot camp. Like right now, this is like fall 2023. And in the red, you can see your live questions throughout. So pop in. So we can see we already got some people joining on TikTok. Welcome, welcome. We're streaming over to YouTube, we're streaming to LinkedIn and Twitch. Links are in the bio. And drop a comment, drop a question whenever it comes up. Feel free to pop in. So with that, let's go through this will be a quick preview. Here's the slideshow. We're not going to go through it, but you can see we're going to do a deep dive. It's going to be 20 to 40 minutes of lecture and 20 to 40 minutes of taking your questions. And this will be in 2 days. So today's Friday. This deep dive will be on Sunday. And these are questions that the audience has submitted to me. Stay to the end of this stream and we will go through those questions lightning round. Here's a quick preview of the questions and I won't get into the answers. But basically comparing to the college degree, Udemy versus Udacity, and what's like a budget-friendly way to do this, and like why don't I just go to YouTube and self-study? So those are going to be some of the questions. Let's get into this Reddit article, 96 upvotes. Seems to be doing pretty well compared to, if you scroll through, I'm seeing 8, 2, 3, 1. There's a 71. Maybe that's cool. So first thing to notice is just that r/coding bootcamp is a thing, and this is a place with a community where you can go to get support. You can also check out Latterly and sign up for free and go to the Discord, but community matters, right? And so good to know that coding bootcamp is a thing. So this user who posted, iamdobbs, hey folks, I'm a graduate of a boot camp and got hired within a reasonable time completed. Okay, so this is like going to be comments from a person who did fairly well. I see a fair few posts asking about boot camp recommendations and advice, and whilst, that whilst is a giveaway, isn't it? So they may be from UK. Oh, well there you go, I'm UK based. I'm not typically the blogging type. I've written a little blog post with a bunch of questions I absolutely think you should ask. Okay, this is great. And we'll come back to this. There are really great comments here as well. Like, sir is going to be a really good piece of advice. Actually, I should have written that down here already. So let me take some notes. Cool. So this is Haley Dobbs on Reddit, u/iamdobbs. 20 questions you should ask, she says. You're thinking of doing a software development bootcamp. Perhaps you've done an intro to JavaScript course on Codecademy. That's a great pro tip, by the way. You may not know that a bunch of these bootcamps, you need to know the basics before you can get admitted to the bootcamp. So let me give you one example. Say I want to go to Course Report and I want to go to Springboard. And we'll talk about later why you might want to go to Springboard, but just bear with me. Let's just pretend you might want to go to Springboard. And so you go to the software engineering career track, but what you notice is to get in, you have to close the pop-up. There's no placement test, there's no interview, but they do recommend that you already have fundamentals coming in. And I will tell you, this is one of the most permissive ways to get in. Other places will have a test that you have to pass to even get in, or they may do an interview. So Springboard is going to be relatively permissive, and they're also relatively affordable, and they have a job guarantee. And so these are some of the reasons that you might want to do Springboard. Also, if you click the scholarships tab, there's $1,000 for you. You're welcome. They're not paying me anything to do this. I literally have emailed them and asked them, will you please sponsor me, because I brag about you so much. I wish you would pay me some money. TBD. So far, they don't. But the point is that they recommend you have the fundamentals going in. So you could use Codecademy. And you can also do, they have an intro here as well. I don't know if they call it intro to design. What do they call their intro thing? Prep. Software engineering career track prep. And you can see it's $500 just to do the intro. So the intro is like, they want you to know stuff. They want you to know stuff that's valuable and worth enough that they would charge you $500 for that. Codecademy is going to be much less. Although Springboard, it's a one-time payment. Codecademy, it is a like monthly payment. So if you're one of these people that signs up, what is it? It's like $50 a month at full price. There's very often discounts. So you could take the free trial and go nuts and then knock out the fundamentals by the time the free trial's over. That would be great. On the other end of the spectrum, you might stick on the monthly plan so long and never get the job done, and it might cost you more than $500. Wouldn't that be crazy? Where's the pricing, yo? I clicked pricing and you didn't give me pricing. Did you know you could get 55% off of what, homie? I think it's like 40 or 50 bucks a month. Okay, here we go. 30 a month. If you pay annually, or 60 billed monthly. That's a pretty big difference, yo. So what if you do that annually? Then it's 360 bucks for a year. So yeah, if you knock it out in under a year, which you totally should, like it's not that much work. It's just going to be a matter of are you going to show up? But if you show up, it'll be cheaper to go Codecademy than Course Report, and I think they're both quite good. What are we selling here, bro? Yeah, this is Codecademy. This is Springboard. This is not my stuff. But I am talking about coding boot camps. Now, if you want me to sell you, how does $1 a month sound? You can check out latterly.io, or free and open source if you want, but you unlock a bunch of perks at $1 a month. And then additional stuff at 30, but most people don't need to do that. So that's a step-by-step checklist of how to learn to code and land your first programming role. Here's the sauce, y'all. It's literally open source. So you can check it out for free if you want to, and you can also check out the Discord. Okay, so back to Miss Dobbs over here. Perhaps you've done an intro to JavaScript on Codecademy, she says, and you can't wait to get building websites. What a huge decision to make. I don't know, maybe. I mean, if this gets you fired up, great, but also some people are going to get intimidated by that, and it doesn't need to be intimidating. You can literally build a website over the weekend. Again, if you go back to Latterly, here's this free checklist. There's something called the Trial by Fire. So this will have you a basic website in an hour. So check out this video. Oscar, I'm trying to switch to a computer science degree at ASU. Currently have a full-time trucking job. Congrats, Oscar. Hang in there. Thanks for being here. Follow the page and keep us updated on how it goes, man. So again, yeah, I'm sure Haley's intent here is good and she wants to get you excited. So if that works, great. But if you're kind of intimidated or like scared, like, whoa, it's a big decision. Maybe there's a lot of financial attachments. There doesn't need to be. You can knock out a website in a weekend. You can do it for free. Oscar says, trying to manage time for schoolwork and work have been tough. Would you suggest a coding boot camp? So what I suggest you start with is Latterly. And it should walk you through if you want to invest more money in a boot camp. But really, I recommend you join the Discord and you just talk to people. And the reason I recommend you talk to people is because whether or not a boot camp makes sense to you is going to depend on a bunch of personal questions. Like, what does your schedule look like? Can you do a full-time boot camp or do you need to do a part-time boot camp? What is your timeline? Are you trying to land a job as soon as possible, or do you want to do this next year? How much money are you willing to spend? Are you trying to do this as cheap as possible, or are you down to spend more money if it gets you into that job quicker? And how much risk do you want to take? Boot camps can get done quicker, but are you going to be able to get the actual job, right? The job placement rate for some colleges is better than for some boot camps. So there's like a risk trade-off. Okay. Kin of Love, what's up? Kin of Love says, everything here. Oh, and Borrow is on YouTube. What do you think about Perscolas? Let's check that out in a minute. That's the Spanish one, right? I'll check this out in a minute. I can't quite remember. So let me do this question from Kin of Love. Kin of Love says, everything here can handle on ChatGPT, so you think bootcamp will need more? The answer is yes. So you might think like a bootcamp is there to give you skills to help you learn to code. And it is that, but one of the big things that the bootcamp does is it is a signal to employers. It tells employers that you're going to work hard. And they also have pre-existing relationships with employers. The career services is the best boot camps. Please don't pick an average or below average boot camp. Today, later in the video, we'll talk about the prestige rule. You want to work with a prestigious boot camp, a top boot camp. Hence, Springboard is one of these. Basically, the rule is, here, I'll talk about it right now. You go to the coursereport.com, browse all schools, sort by most reviewed, not best reviewed. If you sort by best reviewed, you get 5 stars with 2 reviews. We don't want that. We want 4.96 stars with 3,000 views. And so technically the prestige rule is 4.25 or higher with 400 or more reviews. Why do you want hundreds of reviews? Because you need employer name recognition. Employer name recognition means that when you go to apply your resume and you talk to people, they know the boot camp you're talking about. People know what BrainStation is. Like hiring managers in the industry know what BrainStation is. People have heard of New Camp. We've heard of Springboard. So that's going to establish some trust and some reputation, and it's going to make you look better as a candidate. So yeah, even if ChatGPT can do all the things, you walking into an interview, that doesn't mean that you're going to, like, as a hiring manager, do I trust that you know how to use ChatGPT? Hey, Tina. So going to a coding bootcamp is all about you showing employers that you're going to be a good hire. And then ideally they give you the skills as well. But frankly, that's secondary. And we know it's secondary because look at the college degree. The college degree is super effective at landing you a job, and you basically don't learn how to actually code with a college degree. So how does it work? Because it's signaling to employers that you're willing to do drudgery. You're willing to grind for 4 years or even 5 years to get that degree. And that means you're going to be a fantastic employee. Let's answer the question from Borrow. So Borrow says, what do you think about Perscolas? This is not the Spanish one, so I don't remember this correctly. So let's check it out. How would I analyze something that I haven't seen before? Actually, I have seen this before. I just can't remember. But I would come over here to Course Report. I would check out Perscolas. 0 reviews, immediate no. It's an immediate no. Let's also go to Sir. Is Perscolas over here? There's a college you can finish with 2.5. Yeah, that sounds good. College you can finish within 2.5 years. Accelerated program, go for it. Sounds pretty cool. Oh, WGU. Yeah, WGU is solid. WGU is solid. They may not necessarily be a better ROI compared to a boot camp, but they do some really cool stuff. And you may already know this, but you can do like credit by examination and credit by portfolio. So WGU, check with your whatever. You have to get it approved by them. So like I don't work there. But in many cases, they will award college credit for your GitHub portfolio. Okay, so you need to run it by their people there. I forget what it's called to get it like officially approved. I don't know if they're doing it like maybe it changes semester to semester, but they've done that in the past. Okay. So where do I see the list of, here's data. And I'm going to do Command F, PER. Yeah, so I'm not seeing per Scholas here. The Traco show says, if you have a lot of credible certs, then you can. Yeah, some certs too. Not all of them, right? I don't know if they have like an official list or whatever, but it's always worth asking. So per Scholas, I would pass borrow. That's the TLDR. Cool. So back to Haley. What are these 20 questions? Who do you choose to give your time, energy, and the equivalent of a deposit on a small house to? If you're buying in Wales or the North, that is. Maybe $5,000 is a deposit on a small house. I don't know. Okay. You've no doubt scoured the internet, socials, and even Reddit's learning programming community. Okay, so we talked about there's r/coding bootcamp, but there's other ones too. Let's see how big this one is. Is it Learn Coding? Did I get that right? Learn Programming, my bad. There's also Programming Humor, which is pretty funny. It's not going to like teach you much, but it's funny. Top 1%. Okay, so this looks even better. Oh, I'm already a member here. Was I a member in the other one as well? Okay, so I'm a member in both of them, and therefore, I guess I recommend that you do the same, I guess. So she's like, hey, maybe you have even gone through the Reddit. Here's a tip. Don't be swayed by the opinion of a few or fueled by fancy marketing brochure. Do your own research. Great tip, Haley. We love it. Ask bootcamps these questions. Bold over the questions, italicizes why. Okay, cool. Question, time and tuition. What are the core hours of study / tuition each day? That's interesting. I would have asked these as two separate questions. I really would break out these questions. So you do want to know the tuition. You want to know the cost. How are you going to know the return on investment if you don't know the cost? And you do want to know the time. Is this a 3-month, 4-month, 6-month, 9-month, 1 year? How long is this thing? That's going to impact your annualized risk-adjusted return on investment, right? So if I pay $10,000 for a 6-month boot camp or $10,000 for a 1-year boot camp, the annualized return is different for those. So you do want to know about the time, and then you also want to know about the time from a scheduling perspective. Is this full-time or part-time? Is this self-paced, or do I need to show up for core hours, as she says? And that's important from a scheduling perspective and whether or not I can work while I'm doing this. So those are important questions, but I would ask that as like two separate questions, though, personally. Y says, a degree in the long run will help and make you stand out. A boot camp isn't as good for money. Yeah, a degree helps. So a degree helps to the magnitude of about 1 on a 10-point scale from the perspective of a hiring manager. That translates into a job search that's about 25% faster. But you're having to put in like 4 or 5 years to get that 25% advantage. So that's a significant advantage, but that's a long time. So the cool thing about a boot camp is you can get into a programming career today, and then you can pick up your degree after you start working, and you can take advantage of the employer subsidy for education, the employer benefit, where they pay for you to go to college, and you can go to college for free or nearly free. So yeah, I would not say avoid a degree for your whole life. Like, I think that's terrible advice. Never get a degree. I have a PhD in economics, bro. Trust me. Yeah, like I'm in favor of college, but these are tools that you can use together, and you can use them strategically. Here's another case where getting a degree doesn't necessarily make sense. If you already have a degree in like political science, going back for a computer science degree is like not a good idea. If you can pivot and go for a master's, that could be a good idea. But again, if you can have your employer pay for it, it's an even better investment. So I think there's this bad discussion that happens, like, I don't know, on TikTok maybe, where it's like coding bootcamp or college. That's not a good discussion. Like, both of these are good tools and you can use them together, right? Okay, cool. So we want to ask about time and tuition. Absolutely. How many live teaching lessons are provided each week? Let's see. Why does she recommend asking this? Do you want a program that has a heavy focus on live teaching? Or do you want one live session a week and the rest self-learning? Okay, so this is like adapting to your personal learning style. That's smart. That's smart. So maybe in addition to live teaching lessons, you could also ask about the nature of the delivery. So is it interactive? Are there coding sandboxes? Is it project-based? Is it team-based? We know in the literature that most people are going to learn better with project-based and team-based learning, as opposed to like simple lecture, even if the lecture is live. So a live lecture could potentially be interactive if I can ask questions. And that would be more engaging and active learning compared to just like watching YouTube videos, which is not great. So live teaching is good, in particular if it's interactive, but in addition to being interactive in the sense of conversant, where I can ask questions to the teacher, it's even better if it's project-based and team-based. And then there's this concept of social emotional learning, but that's going to be difficult to get emotional about a boot camp. At least positive emotionality is going to be difficult. You could have negative emotionality if they like stress you the fuck out, but that's not really great. But actually boot camps do that to some extent, right? They put on this pressure and they generate a sort of like grit level emotionality where it's just like a high pressure, aggressive, cortisol oriented emotionality. And it works for some people and it doesn't work for a lot of people. One of the ways that you can incorporate emotionality into a coding bootcamp is if you see a capstone project, right? So if they let you do something you're passionate about, if they let you customize and personalize a project, that can trigger some emotional learning. And then if that is also, if it's like a capstone that's like a team thing, if it's like a team capstone, now you have social emotional. It's kind of hard to do that right though. And you can think about the reasons why that's so tricky to do, because what if I'm on a team and there's 4 people on this team and we're passionate about different things? So what are we going to do? Are we going to end up picking something that like 1 or 2 of them are passionate about and the other people don't care? That's potentially negative. Are you going to like negotiate and find something that you're all like moderately passionate about? Maybe you get some benefit out of that, or maybe it's just like it doesn't matter at all. But a capstone's a good thing. It also looks good to employers. If stuff is letting your personality shine, and you get to the interview and you're talking about your project and you're letting your personality shine instead of just another to-do app, which is relatively boring. Cool. So how many live teaching lessons, and also just asking about the delivery of the educational material. What about live lessons not specifically related to coding? So what would this be? I mean, soft skills are really important if that's the idea here. Yeah, soft skills. Great. That's a fantastic question, actually. Many coding boot camps don't do this at all. That's a fantastic question, Haley. Is my work marked, and how do you measure my progress? That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Do you need confirmation you're on the right track or mark your goal each week? Interesting. So this is kind of another personal fit question. I can see how this would be nice, is it would prevent like expectation shock when you're in the program. Sometimes if you get like 3/4 through the program and then you're like, oh, whoa, I'm so behind, that can be pretty stressful. This would mitigate that. This seems like less important though, because the big thing that matters is pass fail, right? So I don't know. Does tracking actually improve your ability to pass? Maybe it does. And I can also just see that like maybe this is like a personality thing. I know that some people would have the personality where I don't know how well I'm doing could be super stressful to them. And that stress itself could inhibit progress. So that does seem like a good question if it's something you care about. And I certainly don't want to put words in Haley's mouth, but maybe the idea is think about all these questions. Here's 20 ideas. Like if you don't care about one of them, I guess you don't, I would say, John, I would say you don't need to necessarily ask all of these, right? But for some people, that's going to be a good question to ask. What steps, help, and support are in place to help me when I'm truly stuck? Great question. And the answer they should give you is that they should say that they have like personalized mentorship help. By the way, this is exactly where Latterly expert sessions come in. One of the key use cases for Latterly is a coding bootcamp supplement. So you go to a coding bootcamp somewhere else. Latterly is not a coding bootcamp. It's a coding bootcamp alternative, right? So you go to a bootcamp somewhere else, and if you are falling behind, Latterly will help boost you back up with additional expert support, basically, and the community support as well. How many solo projects do I complete? That's fun. You only need 3, right? If it's 3 to 5, then you're good. If the answer is like 10 or 20, that gets kind of like suspicious actually, because how deep are you actually going to go with any of those? Am I expected to? Is it typical for me to work on weekends? Yeah, this is like a personal fit question. So sure, feel free to ask it. Feel free to ask it. Do I have a designated mentor? The answer should be yes. The answer should be yes. Great question to ask. How many people are in each cohort? This is a good question to ask, but the number can vary and it's not a big deal. So the student-teacher ratio is a big deal. You want to have a student-teacher ratio definitely under 30, ideally under 20. Under 10 is great, but not really super realistic. Okay, that is student-teacher ratio in a lecture-style class like K through 12 traditional. But with some of these online models, they scale it, and a cohort could be like 500 or 1,000 people, like MOOC style. That's not necessarily disqualifying. The question is, if they are using a MOOC style cohort size, do they have the systems and tools in place? As long as they do, they can actually scale like a couple hundred people in a cohort. And as long as the systems are in place, it's not a big deal. So maybe ask about the systems, what tools they'll use. But another thing that you can do here is just rely on their reputation. You're not going to have over 1,000 people reviewing you with a 4.5 if your systems suck. So you can pretty much know that like if LeWagon is doing a 200 cohort size, and I don't think they do, but if they do, they clearly have the systems in place because they're like almost a 5.0 with thousands of reviews. So this is like scientifically validated. This prestige criteria is hireability and educational. This is the name of the paper, Hireability and Educational Prestige. You can read the paper. This is the working form. It's available for free on SSRN, so you can check that out. But that's why it's so powerful. You don't need to stress out. You can rely on these sorts of tools. The fact that the science shows there's a prestige criteria, and then if they have a job guarantee on top of that, so that can take some of the stress off. So sure, ask about cohort size. And yeah, like if they say like 50, that's like a really weird number. If they say like 75, if they say a number that is a hybrid model number, that could be a red flag maybe. Because 50, it's like way too big for an in-person class, right? It's way too big for that. And it's also way too small for normal MOOC scale. Like, why 50? If you can do 50, can't you do 250? If you're MOOC scale. So maybe that's an indication there, but I wouldn't stress about it too much if their reputation is high. Conversely, I really doubt any of these highly rated people have a cohort size of like 80. I really doubt that. I think they're going to fall in the two buckets I talked about. What languages do I study? The correct answer is JavaScript. If they say Python, fine. And there's one place, what is it? It's Career Foundry. I think they do like C something. What do they do? Is it C#? They get a pass because they're another awesome company with the job guarantee. So they have the guarantee. Where's the program, dude? I thought they have a full stack program. Oh, they used the dash. That's why I couldn't find it. So yeah, $7,500. That's even cheaper than Springboard, right? And then there's class size. Told you. A lot of this you don't necessarily need to ask a person because the information's right here. It's part-time. It's 40 weeks. Here's the languages. Okay, they're doing JavaScript and Python. I thought I read that they were doing C# at one point in time. Maybe they stopped. And do they have a scholarship? $7,500, that's great. No scholarship tab over here. We love Career Foundry. They are right up there with Springboard in my book. How about She Codes? Do they have a guarantee? Nope, no guarantee. Bummer. App Academy? Bummer. No guarantees. Where are the guarantees at, homie? It's like no one wants to guarantee anymore. Okay. What support is available for those with additional learning needs? That's a great question. Some of this is you're gonna want to like search yourself though, right? Like if you have ADHD, you can try to find a bootcamp that supports you by all means, but you're probably going to be more successful with personalized like psychology. Like you get your own psychologist and they address your ADHD. And then with that armor already on you, then you go to the boot camp. I would say probably consider that. And you can do both, right? Like you can have a therapist that helps with your ADHD or your autism. You can have the therapist and seek out a coding boot camp with accommodation. Like why not both? But there's going to be actually a really small number of boot camps that have like serious autism support. I can't think of any. Like I actually can't think of any, which is kind of sad to say. I can think of a few that have like scholarships for individuals with disabilities or learning impairment. So do check in from like a scholarship perspective as well. How do you know if you have autism? Well, you can do one of these like stupid online courses, autism test. But what you should really do is go see a therapist. Here, let's do an autism test together. You ready? I don't know which one of these. Oh, Psych Central. I think this one's going to be better. How long is this test? It is a 80 statement scale. How long are these statements? Okay, so let's go through this. Is today the day I find out I have autism? I'm a sympathetic person, like maybe. I don't know. This is going to be too much work, isn't it? I have to think about these questions. True only when I was younger than 16. No. True now and when I was young, I guess. I often use words and phrases from movies and television in conversations. Like sometimes. I'm surprised when others tell me I have been rude. They don't usually tell me that. I mean, I guess when they tell me that, it does surprise me, though. I talk loudly. Yeah, that's true. This is going to be too much time. But anyway, you can do one of these stupid online tests where you can see like an actual therapist, which I recommend. People are actually into it in the chat. You know what? Let me know. Go to my TikTok and drop a comment on one of my TikToks, and I will do this as a live stream topic if you want. We can have a whole stream where we collaboratively take an autism test. It'll be great. Today, though, we're focused on the question of how to find a quality coding boot camp. Okay. What does job support look like post-course? This is super important, and I'm just going to tell you, most coding boot camps do not do a good job of this. Even the coding boot camps that I recommend, like Career Foundry and Springboard, they may do an above average job compared to other boot camps. They still leave a lot to be desired. And that's another reason that you should come back to Latterly and check out the programming checklist. So you get down here. By the way, if you pay $1 a month, you get access to an advanced checklist that has even more tips. So it'll tell you to use LinkedIn Premium and interviewing.io. Why do you want to use LinkedIn Premium? Because of science. Like 4.6 times more effective than emails alone using these InMails. Your callback rate goes up, your interview rate goes up, like all the things are better. So these are things that, let me know if your bootcamp recommends it. Because I don't know any bootcamp that recommends all these things. Or even most of them. Hack Reactor wasn't bad. He's scared to find out. No, I'm not scared. I'm totally open to the idea. I already have a broader autism phenotype. I know that. So I'm in the BAP. But I think I actually got tested and the answer is no. Although I'm in the broader autism phenotype. Trust me, I'm not scared about it. It would explain a lot of things. What I'm doing now is checking Hack Reactor. Someone says Hack Reactor wasn't too bad. I think I looked into Hack Reactor and they actually didn't meet the criteria previously. Yeah, so 4.6, which is a good rating, but 333 reviews. So they don't meet the prestige criteria. But the way to interpret this is, it seems like their curriculum and stuff is pretty good. They're just not that well known, right? And so maybe you just wait a year or two, and they accumulate the reviews, and they'll be in the top group. But currently, they don't seem to be in the top group. And then they don't have a job guarantee, right? And then they're way too expensive, right? So you can pay half this much, get a job guarantee, and have better employer recognition. Now, I'm very glad for you if this worked out. But I wouldn't recommend it. Some people this could fit though, right? Because this is 12 weeks, 60 hours a week. So if you want to so this is like crunched in. So if you want to get job placement quickly, this could be an option. Remember, Career Foundry, I think, was a 40-week program. I do often forget how to spell Foundry. What is a Foundry anyway? So that's digital marketing. So this is a 40-week program at $7,500. Now this is the part-time. Do they have a full-time as well? They might have both. This is just course report, so you would want to dive into their actual website for more up-to-date details. Here, let's check it out. These are like events. I don't know. I don't want to know about events though, dude. Okay. Full stack development. And under 10 months. Apply for one of 100 partial scholarships. That's awesome. What a great deal. Are you serious? It's already super affordable. And they're gonna make it even more affordable. That's awesome. Okay, 30 to 40 hours a week for 5 months, or 15 to 20 for 10 months. So it does seem like they have a part-time and a full-time. But their full-time is still 5 months as opposed to Hack Reactor, which was crunching it into 3 months, 12 weeks. So there's going to be a small number of people who maybe they really need it in that time frame. Power to them. Okay, Joshua is dropping some knowledge in the chat. Let's check this out. Thanks for being here, Josh. He said they have very helpful career services. Excuse me. He says, I went for free and they have financial aid. That is a fantastic call out. So absolutely check into the financial aid and scholarships available. Yeah, if you could do Hack Reactor, do the 3-month thing with financial aid, that really changes the calculus, doesn't it? He says, upon getting a job, you pay 10% of your salary. Okay, so it's an ISA. And he says, mine was 19 weeks full-time. They have 12, 19, and 36-week programs. Really good call-outs, Josh. Thanks for being here. That's really good knowledge. All right, cool. Back over here. So we're asking about career services. You need to ask about it. It's super true. If the course has hiring partners or agreements with companies, how many roles have been available to graduate in the past 6 months? This is a good question. A couple other ways you could ask this. One is just like, what is the placement rate for recent cohorts? What is the placement rate for recent cohorts? And we want to hear, you want to know one of two things about the bootcamp. Either the placement rate is over 90%, or maybe or they have a job placement guarantee. Consider the alternative. There's not a guarantee and the placement rate is under 90%. Most people are risk averse. When you do the risk adjusted return on investment of like 10 or 20 grand, that's like really scary chance that you could be losing 10 or 20 grand. So make sure that job placement rate is over 90% and or they have a job placement guarantee. Out of the available roles, what's been the average salary? That's good. You can also ask about the median. That'll be good. Maybe get the top and bottom 10% as well. In the past 6 to 12 months, what percentage of grads have been hired into junior roles? Sure, why not? This shouldn't matter. This shouldn't matter, and let me tell you why. A junior at Facebook is making more than a senior at a lot of other companies. Did you know that? I'll repeat that. A junior at Facebook is making more than a senior at a lot of other companies. So you do care about the salary and the placement rate, and you should not care about whether or not you get the term junior on you. Because once you get that job, the most number of times that you will use the junior title is once. So as soon as you get that job, even if it says junior, don't get the ick, dude. Chill. Enjoy your paycheck, homie. Anywhere you go after that, you're never going to see that junior title again anyway. So don't sweat it. So I actually don't like that question. And I'm trying really hard to find questions that I don't like, because most of these 20 are really good. But I don't want to be like, yeah, vanilla, boring, yes, yes, yes. I want to find some to disagree with. And this would be one that I can disagree with comfortably. What is the average time to find an employment post-course? This is a good question. And the answer should be under 10 months. Under 10 months. Even better if they can say like under 6 months. With Latterly, if you do a personalized mentorship, which is not normal for Latterly, most people just sign up for free or they do the pay what you can. The personalized mentorship is like kind of expensive. That's like one-on-one sessions with an expert every week, like 1 to 3 sessions every week. And it's basically like a one-on-one boot camp. So it's like a premium offering. But if you do that, the job guarantee is under a year, including learning and job placement. So it would be like you're going to learn to code within 6 months. You're going to land a job within 6 months after that. And so that's something that Latterly can do. So definitely a bootcamp should be able to do that, right? Joshua says, it's really hard to find a first job because the market is so saturated. I guess so. I've never seen a good definition of this term saturated. What I would say is that employer demand is down. But anyway, yeah, right now it's really rough. It's going to be easier in January, though. That's the good news. So currently it's October, November, and December. It's going to still be rough. Like, hang in there. If you're on the job market right now, I'm praying for you. And let me know what I can do to help. DM me. But when you get to the other side of December, there's going to be the new fiscal year. Many departments are awarded so that they can make new hires at that time. And you get a burst of hiring every year. You can go look at the stats. I don't know, LinkedIn jobs report or something like that. There's a lot of data on this. And hiring goes up in Q1. So just hang in there. And it also makes right now is a really good time to learn, because you're gonna need a minimum of 3 months to say I have 3 months of experience. Look at my portfolio, and really employers are gonna want to see 6 months plus of experience. So you have zero to lose by starting to learn now. So even though the job market is rough right now, don't take that to mean that you shouldn't start learning right now. You should totally start learning right now so that you can be one of the people that scoops up one of those Q1 jobs, instead of having to wait until like Q2, or maybe Q3, which the hiring is not as hot. Is there an alumni community? Tell me about it. This is another benefit that you get when you use the prestige rule. There's always an alumni community. When you have hundreds and hundreds or even thousands of reviews, that means hundreds and hundreds or thousands of people or tens of thousands of people have gone through there. There's an alumni community. Keep working on projects and update that repo. Totally agree. So you can ask this question, but like the answer should be an obvious yes, and you should be able to tell without even asking them. But sure, you can ask them. Can you observe a day with an existing cohort? Ooh. That's a great thing to do. Yeah. What are they going to do? Say no? Fine. I think a lot of boot camps would actually say no. But if they say yes, that would be fantastic. What if you absolutely hate it? Are you able to leave? Yeah, this is a good question to ask. And some boot camps will do like if you leave, like a no fault in the first month kind of thing. Or maybe in the first week or two. All right, these are really good questions. She gave 20 questions, and I think at least 16 of them are great. So these are really good questions. Highly recommend this, and I will be adding this to the Latterly issues so that we can add this in. So Latterly is open source, which means you can always open a new issue. Mention bootcamp questions to ask. Code Hustle says New Camp. New Camp is affordable, but I actually have not seen good data on their placement rates. Have you? I think their placement rates are way lower and they don't have a job guarantee. %78% within 9 months of graduation. So it's mid, dude. It's mid. Now, the good news is it's affordable. So So this is going to be your personal risk tolerance. Would you rather pay $9,000 with a guaranteed job, or would you rather pay, what is it? It's like $3,000. Here's the front end boot camp for $2,000, but a couple of things about this. First of all, you're going to want to go full stack instead of front end. And also I think their career services module is a separate module. Yeah, their job hunting module is separate. So it's like another $500, right? Yeah, so it's like $9,000 or $3,000. Like it's a lot cheaper. I get that, but a job guarantee. Don't sleep on the power of a job guarantee. And the job guarantee is within 6 months, as opposed to 80%, like under 80% within 9 months. So there's actually like, here's the thing. Let's say that this was 100% within 9 months versus 100% within 6 months. Then there's still a 3-month differential. You're getting paid like $80,000 after you land that job. So 80 over 12. So that's like $6,000 times 3. So that's like foregone earnings of like $20,000. Foregone earnings of $20,000. So there's no free lunch, my guy. There's no free lunch. So, no, I don't recommend New Camp personally. I don't. I guess it would make sense for some people. But I would say Springboard or Career Foundry, and do not ignore the opportunity cost of foregone earnings. This is the main cost of college, by the way. You think college is the sticker price, like price of your state school? I don't know, University of Tennessee. And so here's tuition, right? This is what people are looking at. And then tuition plus books and room and board. And so they're thinking that this is the cost. No. The opportunity cost of foregone earnings is the primary cost of college. It's the primary cost of college. An additional year, so you go for 4 years, but then the typical person is going to actually take 5 years, right? That additional year is like $80,000 in foregone software engineer earnings. So, and that $80,000 divided up among the 5 years would be like 16. Which is like an additional 50% here. It's more than the tuition. And then, the nerd part of me wants to split this and see how much is actually like room and board. Because I think the $16,000 would be more than any of these 19 individualized. But you add them all up and fine, it's bigger. I think there's other ways to draw down that room and board, like I think you only need room and board like 1 or 2 years of the 4 or 5 years. So I think that gets averaged out. And I think the opportunity cost is the primary cost. Okay, we made it through the questions. So I think we've plugged, Don the Developer. So let's say that I do want to go, so Don the Developer has a YouTube channel, and he does personal interviews with career bootcamp or like bootcamp graduates. So let's go to some of these. So Springboard, he did recently. New Camp, he's done New Camp a bunch of times. App Academy, right? What else do we have? Epicodus. I don't even know what that is. He's got it. This girl was cool. I forget what boot camp she did. There was some other boot camp. And basically you can just take the boot camp of your choice and then search his site to see if he has it. Let's do Career Foundry. And then there's BrainStation. So you can see he's got these. And the trick is, so you can watch this all the way through if you want to, but they're very often over an hour. This is an hour and 15 minutes. The power move is the GPT combo. So you come down here, you go to show transcript. And so now I got the transcript over here, right? So take this transcript, grab it, and you can do like 10-minute intervals. So you can see I have the timestamp on there. and you might even be able to do more, but I think like 10 or 15 minutes is about as far as I got. You come over here and you say, summarize the main 5 points of this partial transcript. Okay, and so it'll take that 10 minutes and boom, almost immediately summarize it into 5 key points. This is going to save you time, but it's also going to consolidate the themes, because when you listen to these people talk, sometimes it like sort of, they go down like, you know, rabbit trails, or they ramble, or they're not super concise or clear in their wording. But when you ask GPT to summarize it, it kind of like cleans all that up basically. Now here, it's not doing what I want. Because it's like giving a bunch of subpoints under each main point. Summarize the main 5, here, let's say concisely. Whoa, what's going on with my keyboard though? All right, let me whoa, dude. Let me refresh my page or something. Nerf Scuttler, what up, what up? And Timid SCRD, I see your question. I'll get to you momentarily. Okay, so now that I said concisely, it actually gave me like the 5. And so you can do this, and then you grab the next 10 minutes, and instead of spending an hour on it, you're spending like, 10 minutes on it. So, and then I think it also gets to the substantive points as well. And you have a list that you can take with you. You'd be like, here's my list. And then if you enable the chat history, you can do this for a few different boot camps, and it'll like save it. You can look back through them. And look, a lot of this is the stuff I'm talking about. It's like cost concerns, flexibility needs. That's in terms of full-time, part-time, self-paced, and then job guarantee, right? Quality issues. You're going to use the review on course report to address that. Cool. All right, so that is the technique of using GPT together with Dawn the developer. Use discounts. This is like, so I'm jumping ahead, but discounts is easy because you can just go to the people's website or look here on course report on the scholarships tab. So there's a scholarships tab, and just for clicking that, you get $1,000. Imagine that. And then people in the chat have mentioned that they got financial assistance at various coding boot camps. So always ask. And if you're a veteran, mention that. If you're handicapped, mention that. If you're an ethnic minority, if you're like the first in your family, first generation immigrant, or maybe first to seek higher education, mention those things, and you can sometimes get a grant. Timid SCRD over on Twitch says, hello, sorry for bothering you. Want to offer a promotion for your channel? Oh, no thanks. Okay. Sign up at latterly.io. This is another big tip, and this is free, y'all. There's not a good reason not to do this. So definitely sign up for free. There's a 24/7 AI chat to help you. There's a community. I hang out on the Discord, and it's open source. So it's going to teach you to code and land a job. It's going to have things your coding bootcamp forgot to mention. And you're going to be able to social network with people. So it's going to super directly help you, and it's totally free. Better yet, you can support for $1 a month and get access to this advanced checklist with even more evidence-based tips for job preparation and landing your job more quickly, getting more pay, etc. And yeah, if you're falling behind in your bootcamp, you can book an expert session to boost you back up. And then if you want to go with the premium option, that will help your job search even more because it's helping build your personal brand, because you'll get shouted out and listed and you can get your name out there. You can also help influence the development roadmap for Latterly itself. So like, what features do you want to see? If you are one of the premium members, I will literally ask you, like, what should I work on next? I'm working a few hours this weekend. What should I work on? Cool. So we've got through most of these. We're going to come back to the Reddit comments. Use discounts. We got through that. Sign up at Latterly. Network ahead of time. This is another thing that I would do. As soon as you start looking into boot camps, make a TikTok. Really make a TikTok. You can make a YouTube as well. Something that's going to document your learning journey, including just picking the boot camp as part of your learning journey. You can also do a blog. I think those would be the 3 that I recommend. Either do a blog and or TikTok and or YouTube. You can do all 3. Why not? And then by the time you're on your job search, you might already have like hundreds or even thousands of people that are already aware of you. And that really helps your job search. I work with people who are struggling to find a job, and they hit me up, and the first thing I do is I look at their resume and I look at their GitHub and I look at their LinkedIn. And what do you know? They have 50 LinkedIn connections. Think about the difference in your job search performance if you have 50 LinkedIn connections and most of it's like your family and people you knew from high school, versus you have 1,000 LinkedIn connections and most of them are people in the tech community who followed you because they heard about your learning journey. You see how different those situations are? You see how one is like a cheat code? It's like a cheat code, dude. Okay. And please don't use an anime picture on your LinkedIn. That's the other pro tip. Good. So those are some of the things that I would do. Let's go back to the Reddit comments, and then I will do the lightning round. So the Reddit comment, use SIR. That's right. So basically, when it comes to placement rates, boot camps sometimes play games. Like, it's facts. They sometimes play games. So SIR is a third-party auditor that it's not like these are the only good coding boot camps, but it is like if you're SIR approved, that's a super green flag. Like, major kudos. So Hack Reactor, Codesmith, Tech Elevator, good stuff. Like, good stuff. Course report, we already talked about that. Switch up, I don't know. Like, do you like switch up? I guess the point is, if your bootcamp is approved in 3 places, SIR, course report, and switch up, like if you're green light in all 3 places, that's super awesome. But I'm actually comfortable telling you, you can just look at course report. And they don't pay me anything. I'm not affiliated. I've done scientific research and I've used their data and it holds up. Like the reviews on here correlate to job placement rates outside of the website, like actual job placement rates, and employer perception. Like the reviews here, the number and the rating, I've done surveys of employers and it literally correlates with like how many people know them and like what they think about them. So by all means, check out, Don the Developer, Switch Up, SIR, and Course Report. Like, get the green flags across the board. But you can also just look at Course Report, and then that plus a job guarantee, and it's like, it has a job guarantee, dude. Like, you're pretty much already good to go. LinkedIn is big. This is a really good tip. So we all know that you should be using LinkedIn. Your LinkedIn profile should be optimized. You should be like posting. When it comes time to apply for jobs, you should submit your resume, and then you should also socially network and follow up with individuals from that company on LinkedIn and shoot them a DM. These are standard things. The cool tip here, which I didn't necessarily think about, but it's a great tip, is he's also, is it he? They're also saying when you're selecting your boot camp, that's a good reason to DM people. Is like, hey, I haven't even signed up for Iron Hack yet, but like I kind of think it might be cool, but like as a former student, I'd love to get your perspective. And that's a really great reason to grow your social network. In addition to at the Coding Bootcamp selection step, growing your network there, also as a graduate, you can reach out to all the alumni and definitely do that, like for sure. Code Hustle says, so basically I effed up with New Camp. Great. You didn't necessarily F up. What you did is you signed up for some hard work. So New Camp is cheaper and the placement rate is lower. And they don't have a guarantee. What that means is if you work really hard and you land a job and you're in the 80% that does land a job, you got a really good return on your investment because you paid less. You paid less and you got an equally good outcome. You just got to work extra hard to make sure that you end up in the 80% and not the 20%. Because if you end up in the 20%, then you screwed up, right? But I'll tell you, that's another reason to use Laterally. It's $1 a month. Go sign up. It's $1 a month. And one of the things that Laterally does is it's a boot camp supplement. So literally people who are in a boot camp and then they're having trouble keeping up, they'll come to Laterally and then the community will help kind of like patch the holes. Like, oh, you don't understand like how a while loop works. Easy. Let's chat about it. And at your boot camp, you might not be getting the like help one-on-one from teachers that you need because maybe they're swamped. But if you just come chat with us, a lot of the times we can patch it. So that would be my advice, Code Hustle. Go sign up. Link in my bio, laterally.io. You can sign up for free, and then I recommend paying the extra $1 a month. All right, cool. Drop your questions if you have any more. We've gotten through the main agenda here. Oh, I need to do the lightning round 8. Okay, so let me pull this up. Turn up my volume because I'm just going to play the TikTok for this. So, the lightning round is... I'm a software engineer with 10 years of experience. I teach people to code, and I got asked 8 questions about landing a programming job. I'll be answering these questions in depth, so sign up for the live stream event here. I'm going to do just a lightning round teaser. First question, is unaccredited as good as accredited? I'll give you one way we can say yes and one way we can say no. The way we say no is if we ask the question, do hiring managers equally prefer both types of candidates? The answer is no. On a 10-point scale, they prefer those with accredited education to the magnitude of about 1 point. However, here's a reason that unaccredited might be preferred. You can get that unaccredited credential much, much faster, and time is money. Question 2, do bootcamps pay to alter reviews on coursereport.com? The answer is kind of yes, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. So someone might post a negative review, like we didn't get good career services help. The bootcamp might reach out to them and give them extra help and then ask for them to update the review. Another reason it's not a big deal is because regardless of the way they're updated, the science shows that those reviews do correlate to job placement rates. Question 3, should I expect to obtain a job within 18 months of graduating from a boot camp? The answer is yes. Frankly, you should expect it within 8 months. Question 4, could obtaining a college degree quickly be better than attending a boot camp? Of course, it could. It's going to depend on how quickly is, it's going to depend on which college, it's going to depend on which boot camp, but certainly there's a world where getting a college degree quickly is a better choice. 5, does having a degree in an unrelated field affect employability? The answer is yes, it's positive compared to not having a degree at all, and it's negative compared to a traditional computer science degree, but not to an important magnitude. 6, what are some budget-friendly alternatives to coding bootcamps? The answer is laterally.io. It's free and open source. It'll give you a step-by-step checklist of how to learn to code and land your first programming role, and the first item in that step is to execute a substantive program. So you can see if you're not interested in a bootcamp, then Coursera, Codecademy Pro Frontend, or a Laterally mentorship are recommended alternatives. Question 7, do you recommend Udemy? The answer is no. Prefer Coursera over Udemy and Udacity. Question 8, how can I minimize risk when deciding whether to attend a coding bootcamp? The answer is that you pick a prestigious coding bootcamp with a job placement guarantee. You can check out my paper on SSRN where I define the rule for a prestigious bootcamp. Either it's a Fortune 50 learning provider like a Google cert, or it is on coursereport.com with a score of 4.25 or higher and over 400 reviews. Springboard and Career Foundry are two prestigious bootcamps with a job placement guarantee. It's hard to minimize risk more than a money-back guarantee. Follow for more and sign up for the event where you'll be able to ask me your own questions and also get access to the slide deck. I'm a software engineer. Okay, great. So that was the lightning round teaser. And remember, the event is on Sunday. That's 2 days from now. 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, United States Eastern Time. Cool. So while that was playing, we got a question from Code Hustle. Have you heard of Break into Text SQL Bootcamp to become a data analyst? Your thoughts, please. I'm going to answer that in two ways. The first is like, let's just go to LinkedIn and search for jobs for data analyst versus software engineer. So jobs. See all job results in the United States. There's no way that can be right? 1,700, it's got to be way more than that. Maybe I need the quotes. Now let's look at software engineer. I think this LinkedIn search is busted though. Yeah, it's saying 2,800 across the US. That's not true, dude. It's yeah, and this is for any time. There's another way to search, which is not a job specific search. So let me go this way. Software engineer. See all jobs. And now it's saying 4,000. That's super busted. Let's go to Indeed. How about Indeed? Data analyst. Okay, so we got 15K over here, and we're going to look at the salaries as well. So there's data analyst, and then we'll look at software engineer. Remember, 15K. 15K versus 70K. You see the difference there? 15K versus 70K. Do you want to have 15K opportunities or 70K opportunities? Okay, so that's the first point. There's way more openings for software engineer. And if I did like or JavaScript or TypeScript or React.js or AngularJS, and I put in all the ors, it's going to be even more. Or front end or full stack. So there's so many keywords, or web developer. Let's look at web developer. So there's so many different job titles that programmers use. So web developer is 16K, whatever. Let's look at full stack, and then remember, full stack can be space, all one word with a dash. Looks like Indeed is smart enough that it's searching for all of them. So there's 4,000. So you wouldn't want to just search for that, but you can think about the or, and you're getting incrementally more job opportunities. But 15 versus 70, just think about that. Now let's look at Glassdoor data analyst salary. Market is no good. Yeah, it's no good right now. It'll pick up in January though. It's a great time to learn right now for sure. Okay, average salary for data analyst is 73.5. Let's call it 74. 74K. All right. Now let's do Glassdoor software engineer. Average salary for a software engineer is 105.3. So would you rather have 74 or 105? 74, and that's rounding up, or 105, and that's rounding down. So you have more job opportunities with more pay. Do the math, right? Like, you want to be a software engineer, not a data analyst. Andrew, how's it going? What we're doing today is we're talking about, first of all, how to select a high-quality coding bootcamp. I think we're pretty much through that piece. And now we're just sort of taking open questions. And the latest question was, should we break into tech as a data analyst instead of a software engineer? Salary for a person with D Tech. Not sure what that means. It's your boy G123. How do I become a software engineer? Check my bio. Check out latterly.io. And there's a step-by-step checklist, how to learn to code and land your first programming role. You can also join the Discord community for free. Pull up. You can also check out my YouTube, link is in the bio, and see all of these like streams that I do and like videos that I do talking about that topic. You the best. Thank you so much. Doctor of Technology. Oh, great question, Andrew. If you have a PhD in technology, you can do at least as well as a master's, which is to say that you should be in the six-figure club. In terms of like the specific difference between a master and a PhD, I don't know what the annual salary difference is, but it should be in the six-figure club. Let's look at this. Average salary, PhD, technology. Maybe we mean, yeah, PhD in IT. So maybe then it's $130K a year. You can easily beat that, right? You can easily beat that with a bit of time and dedication, but it looks like that's the average according to PayScale. Look up Purdue D-Tech, okay? This one maybe. First degree of its kind. That's very cool. Oh, now you've got my curiosity piqued. I want to go read through these. Interdisciplinary. That's great. By major, we want to see tech. Nope, not one of those. Maybe comp sci. So here we're seeing 120 for comp sci. I don't know if this is the same thing that you're looking for. This is the master's degree though. That's an Indiana salary. Seems like it, doesn't it? Polytech Institute, and then there's a bunch of techs under this, but the highs are looking, I mean, the highs are in the six-figure club once again, around 120. Okay, Marion says, is Latterly beginner friendly? I have a BA in teaching and I've been a nanny for the last 5 years. Yeah, I think Latterly is beginner friendly. Would be great to see you there. M. Allen, I'm a first year SWE, only make $60K in Michigan, Vue and Node stack. Hey, don't belittle yourself. $60K is something. $60K is something, and once you have that first job, it's easy to level up. So pull up to Latterly. It will be good to chat with you. Marion again, meaning that all I have is a Udemy Python for Beginners course. I want to break into tech. Yeah, you can do it. I mean, having the desire is the first step. I definitely believe that most people who have an interest in coding can do it. Adam says, what's work-life balance as a SWE? I mean, for me, it's pretty good, but I don't know about the average. Like, let's try and go for an average and be objective here. So you can look job satisfaction, software engineer. Andrew says, I feel like most of our analysts have PhDs at work. Cool, that's cool. So according to Career Explorer, 3.6 out of 5, whatever that means. I mean, the thing is, what are you comparing it to? Like, what would your other job be? So yeah, I'm sure there are going to be some careers where this number is higher and some where it's lower. It's not a 5.0, right? Sometimes you're on TikTok and you see these day in the life videos and they make it look like everything's great. Everything's not great. There's ups and downs. There's times where it gets stressful. There's times where you have to work more than 40 hours a week. And there's times, honestly, like if my employer is listening, I hope they cover their ears. There's times where you can work 20 hours in a week. So there's ups and downs. I say it works for me, but it doesn't work for everybody. M. Allen says, Reddit has me scared about the job market right now. Well, that's because the job market right now is trash. The job market right now is no good, but it's going to pick back up in January, so just hold tight. Marianne says, everything is so overwhelming. My advice, girl, would be get with a group of people. Like, don't try to put it all on your own back. I don't know, maybe you already have programming people you talk to, but meetup.com is another thing. And so if you're, I don't know, near Houston or DC or New York or any major metropolitan area, there's going to be like groups. And then there's the Discords, right? So Laterally has one, Free Code Camp has a Discord. There's a bunch of Discords with thousands and thousands of people. And also just social networking with like creators like me here on TikTok. There's a bunch of people in what's called tech talk. And you can just like talk to some of these people and start networking with them. Good questions, y'all. Thanks for being here. Okay, so I think that's going to do it for today. Any final questions? Again, follow the page and get ready for the deep dive that's going to be in 2 days on Sunday. Check out the YouTube. Today's stream was recorded. You can always go back and watch it again. YouTube link is in the bio. And laterally.io, if you have more questions, just come by the Discord. And feel free to ask a question. I'll be hanging out there after the stream. And we'll help you with your portfolio projects or your interview prep or whatever the case might be. Thanks for being here.